everyone, Abby here from Pilates with Abs, and I'll be leading you through a 10-minute introduction to Core Restore, restoring your abs after having a baby. And this is a very introduction to a longer series that I have available for purchase, both separately as a one-time product and also as part of my entire on-demand subscription platform that includes 100 videos, give or take, for postpartum parents. And the most important thing about rebuilding your abs postpartum is it's not as simple as just going back into doing crunches or going back into doing planks. So there's a real nuance with building your core. Your core has been through a lot after having a baby. Think how it takes 9 months to cook that baby. It's really like a bell curve where I want you to think about it taking that much time on the other end. So we'll be doing some breath work to intro you and a couple of my favorite different movements that help you to find and establish your deep core, which can be especially challenging postpartum in a few different positions. And these are really some of my go-tos that work at all stages of the process. So I look forward to moving with you a little bit, and hopefully this could just be the beginning for us. I do encourage you to use a Pilates ball if you've got one. I like to call it a little squishy ball or a sad ball. It's very sad. If you don't have one of these, a couch pillow will work great. We are going to begin laying down on your back with the squishy ball or pillow underneath your hips. So I'm going to have you roll onto your side to lay onto your back. That's important because even getting up and getting down off of the floor is a core exercise. So slide that squishy ball underneath your pelvis. It should go a little bit closer to your tailbone than it is towards the lower back. Hands can come down by your sides. And I want you to start with some breathing. So as you inhale, there's this three-dimensional expansion through the core, through the chest, through the hips. As you exhale, can you feel how there's a natural narrowing and a softening of the back ribs towards the floor? Again, we're gonna inhale wide through front, side, and back body. Exhale, start to feel a heaviness, a feeling of softening and settling. So let's do that just one more time, and then we're gonna add some pelvic movement onto it. Inhaling for width, exhaling to feel that width naturally narrow. Hug the pubic bone up and feel your lower back start to move into the ball. Inhale, hang your tailbone towards the ball like you're sticking your butt out. So we're gonna do that again. Exhaling to curl the pubic bone up. Inhaling to flare the tailbone back down. So as you do a few more of those, I want you to think again about that narrowing in, and we're gonna just emphasize that more and more. So your deep core consists of a few different layers of abdominal muscles, your transverse abs being the deepest ones. And those muscle fibers run east and west horizontally, and they coordinate with your breath. So when you exhale, that narrowing feeling is a knitting in of those transverse abs. Shortening of those transverse abs. And so all of our other muscles, our ab muscles, our obliques and our six-pack muscles, well, they just build on top of what those transverse abs are doing. So a lot of our postpartum work is in reinvigorating those transverse abs, making sure that you're building strength from the inside out. So what happens is if we start by strengthening those six-pack muscles, well, they separated during pregnancy and they're not able to take the load all on their own. In fact, they're gonna stay potentially separated if we go right for that. So this kind of breath work, this kind of deep core work is an absolutely necessary starting block, not only to heal your abs postpartum, but also to stay supported and injury-free in your back and in your hips as well. So we'll try some progressions on it here, and you can use this as a way to kind of check in. We're gonna find that neutral position, kind of in between the full tuck and the full release. You can leave the hands down by your sides, and we're gonna march the legs one at a time up to a tabletop position. And I'm just realizing, is my little helper down here? Yes, I didn't introduce Franklin, my little helper, for today. Being a good boy on my feet. Yes. Okay, back to the marching. So one leg at a time is marching up to tabletop. Your goal is as little movement on the ball as you can. So again, think about that corset cinching in as you lift the leg up. If those abs are really staying open and expanded and kind of poofy up towards the ceiling, we're not getting the core work that we really could be out of this. So this might feel plenty challenging. A second option would be both legs up in tabletop, one leg down at a time. Again, can you feel front ribs staying narrow, hip bones knitting in, like you've got a seatbelt tightening around your waist that doesn't change as the legs move. Another progression, you can take your arms up towards the ceiling. If you feel discomfort in your lower back, if you feel that widening and that pulling apart of the abs, it could be a signal of a diastasis recti, which is very common postpartum but is one of the things that you can heal with this kind of core and breath work. We want to avoid that separation getting bigger, however. So if you do feel, I can't really connect, I feel this opening, it feels really unstable, it feels weird, let's stick with this version here. Okay, so we're going to take this for another 4 or 5 on each side, wherever you're at. And if you are sticking with 2 feet on the floor, keep it going. It's going to be hugely beneficial. If both legs were up in tabletop, let's try one more thing. Zip the knees and ankles together. Hug the pubic bone up so the lower back is kind of tucked in towards the ball. Exhale, stretch the legs long and come back in. Maybe you want those hands by your sides for more stability and support. We're going to stay with it for your last count of 4, of 3, good, 2. See if you can hold the legs long on this next one. Not great with the legs straight, just go ahead and rebend the knees. We're all gonna just stay and breathe here for 5, for 4, can you keep that corset going? For 3, 2, 1, and rest. Awesome. So a really good example of super supportive, safe, progressive abs that you can do on your back. And the more load that you can start to take in those abs, meaning the longer lever you can take with the legs both lifted and straight, that's going to be part of your recovery program. Let's go ahead and take ball to the side. I want you to roll onto your stomach. I'm just going to turn around and face my little helper here. So no prop for this one, just coming to your belly. You're going to bring your elbows underneath your shoulders for a Sphinx position if that's a familiar cue for you. Open up across the collarbones. It should feel really nice, especially if you've been doing a lot of feeding. You're tight in the chest. So give yourself a little bit of a stretch across the pecs. As you exhale, I want you to look in towards your belly button. Keep the hips on the floor for now. Inhale, look up. So kind of like a cat-cow on your belly. Nice. Okay, we're gonna do that for 2. Good. And one more. This time when you're looking in, stay. I want you to think about that corset again. Can you rack the front ribs in? Can you tuck the pubic bone into the mat and lift your belly button up a little more? This should feel maybe a little shaky and good. And now release. Pull the heart forward and up. Okay, so option to do that again, nice and slow. I'll cue us through it, looking in, pubic bone down, belly button up, stay and breathe here. Or maybe you feel like you could lift the hips up a little bit. Big time shake. Lower back down. Again, if you feel that little bit of widening and separation, or again, something feels kind of like achy, let's scale it back just a little bit, keep pelvis on the floor. Okay, we're gonna do 2 more. You kind of get to pick your progression. Not kind of, that's exactly what you're doing. Good, 1 more. Let's see if we can just hold at the top for 3 breaths. Inhale, keep your abs strong in the front. Exhale, think about that corset knitting a little more. Inhale, breathe into the side and back of your rib cage. That's another way to think about keeping those abs strong. Exhale, they get stronger. 1 more time, breathing in. Stay for the exhale. Nice. And then lower hips down. Give yourself another little stretch. Great. We're going to walk up onto hands and knees next. All 4s. And actually, just like I got my little Franklin here, if you're tight on time and you've got baby who needs a little bit of attention, this next is a great one to do with baby right in here in front of you. So let's start with a few cat-cows. You get, again, mobilization for the spine, the hips, the chest. And you can make little goofy baby faces here. Hi. My baby is ignoring me. Okay, so then back to your neutral position. If you've got that squishy ball or pillow, place that ball or pillow between the thighs. We're gonna practice our belly breaths or those deep transverse ab breaths here. So as you inhale, you can actually let your abs go as much as possible. As you take your exhale, hug the front ribs in, hug the navel in, hug in on the ball. Inhale to release. Exhale, hug everything up. Try to do this without doing the cat-cow. That's what makes it a little bit more nuanced and a little hard. But once you feel like you can kind of access that, again, without moving the spine, those are really your transverse abs. Again, those deepest abdominal layers. It can be really hard to isolate and feel. Let's go 1 more. See if now you can hold the abs up and in the whole time. Tuck the toes, exhale, tuck the pubic bone under, and then go back to your neutral pelvis. So my shoulders and upper body stay pretty still. I'm just taking like a mini cat-cow with pelvis and lower back. Okay, final progression here is gonna be moving towards knee hover, or it's just gonna be like kind of the beginning of your planking, getting back into it. So next time the pubic bone is under, stay, hug in on the ball. Does it feel like you can lift your knees up without losing your abs? Lower back down, find neutral, take a breath in. Exhale, navel to spine, hug pubic bone under, hug it on ball, lift those knees, knees down, and back to neutral. We're gonna take it for 2. Maybe you were like, feels a little weird. In which case, keep those knees down on the floor. If you were okay with knees up, meet me there on this last one. Hold it, little pulses in on the ball, and as you do that, you're working on that endurance and that consistent effort of abs lifting up and in. We'll stay for 6, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rest. Awesome. We're gonna take a child's pose as a stretch. Knees wide, feet together. You might keep that squishy ball and put it under your head or under your hands, or just take it off to the side. Take a deep breath here. Let your lower back, your glutes, your core, and your pelvic floor all relax here. Equally important to the engagement is still allowing some stretch and some length to happen in that deep core as well. So let's just take another breath in, another breath out, and then take your time to roll yourself all the way up, and we'll call it a day there for today. And I managed to still get some pink cheeks from that one, so I know that was simple but not easy. And again, we just continue to progress on that. So these are really safe and effective exercises that you can stick with throughout your postpartum recovery, but for even more details and even more of a guided progression, please join me for my Core Restore program. The link and the details for that are below. I'm Abby again, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here for the next one.